I'm Nick Seco from HomeRight Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome back to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by HomeRight Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice winner in the 2024 Best of the Tri-State. Middletown Valley Bank is someone that we always have different guests here from Middletown Valley Bank, but today, for the first time on Let's Talk Tri-State, we have Amy Gardenhour, who is the residential mortgage lender at Middletown Valley Bank. That's quite a title.
Yes.
And you're going to go through the buying process and the different loans that you offer. Before we get into that, for anyone who isn't familiar with Middletown Valley Bank, obviously I am, because we've done a lot of interviews with you guys. Tell me a little bit about the bank.
Sure. So the bank started in 1908, Middletown, Maryland, and was Middletown Savings Bank at that time.
I don't think I knew it's been around 1908.
1908.
Oh my goodness, wow.
So they operated under that until 1965, and then they changed to Middletown Valley Bank. In 2018, we formed our holding company, which is Community Heritage Financial. And in 2019, we bought Millennium Financial Group, which is the mortgage portion, so Everlend. So we brought them in-house. It was a fully operational mortgage company, so they are now under the umbrella as well.
So you guys can really take care of everything.
Everything, yes. Yep.
How many locations are there?
We have eight banking locations.
Okay.
Sorry. We have 8 locations that are banking locations. They range from Frederick County to Washington County, and we opened our first location in Franklin County in May of 2021.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yes. You know, I love Middletown Valley Bank. You guys do so much in the community. You are a very community-driven bank, and I think that really helps you guys to stand out from any other banks. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so we're still like local banking. We have the flexibility of a local bank. We have the responsiveness of somebody in your community. Last year in 2024, our employees gave back over 3,200 hours in volunteering to the community.
That's insane.
So if you talk to anyone who works there, the absolutely exceptional experience is kind of our tagline. It's something that's pounded into us, not in a bad way, but when I first started, like they say, we bleed blue. Like you love working there. It's great. We're involved. So yeah.
That makes a huge difference when you walk in. Yeah. Somebody knows your name. They know your situation. They know you. It's a nice, unique atmosphere.
Yeah,
for a
like
bank.
I am housed in 2 of our branches, and it's nice. The customers come in, and it's more than hi, how are you? It's how are your kids?
Right.
How was so and so's wedding? So they really get to know their customers.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so let's dive in a little bit about who would you be willing or able to help if they were in the process of buying a home?
Sure. So I would start with the pre-approval process, and that would involve anyone who is buying their first home, or if you're a current owner and you need to transition to a bigger home, anybody buying. I would say if you were looking within the next 30 days up to possibly the next year. So for first-time home buyers, they may not know what the process looks like, what products are out there, what to expect.
It's so overwhelming.
It is very overwhelming. It's usually the most amount of money that anyone spends. So we encourage you, come in, sit down, we can high-level talk, just basics. That way you know what to expect. When you get ready to start the process, it's application, gathering documentation, making sure you know exactly what to expect. Once you start working with realtors, we can update your paperwork very quickly. We'll send you a letter and then a cost estimate, so you know exactly this is bottom line what I can expect.
And you know what I always really appreciated about my lender who I had years ago is he always found ways to help me to get the best loan, the best deal. I took an online class and got some kind of certification which helped with the loan amount or the interest rate or something. And it just really stood out to me, that kind of level of service.
And we offer the full gamut from your government programs to minimum down payments, large down payments. And that's our job as your lender. So it's our job to get you through the interview process per se, and then figure out what you have available and what we can do for you.
If you're a first-time home buyer, what kind of benefits would you get versus someone who's buying their second or third home?
So the programs aren't as strict, some of them, as they used to be. So there are programs for first-time home buyers that will, minimum down payment is the big thing, not needing as much cash. There are some grant programs offered through like the county or the state that they may be eligible for. But even if you're not a first-time home buyer, you can still be eligible for some of those low down payment programs.
And that's amazing. I mean, it's so overwhelming and it's such a huge investment, and you just want to make sure that you have the team that's there in place, that's got your back, that's helping you through every step.
And that's our job.
Of it.
Like we hear horror stories, but I tell people just do what we tell you and you'll be fine. Like just the application, we get you there, we get you through, we make sure the documentation is there, I's are dotted, T's are crossed. We're not going to let you get to the table and say, oh wait, something has blown up. So.
And what's the pre-approval process look like? Is it quick and easy?
We can usually turn them around, I'd say 24 to 48 hours. Now, that's for just a standard borrower. If we get into people who maybe are self-employed or own multiple properties, sometimes those require a little bit deeper dig on the borrower, so it may take a little bit longer. So most of the documentation is also good for 120 days. So once it's in, assuming everything stays the same, your pre-qual is good for a little bit of time.
And there is something, I've heard about this recently, but I don't know the ins and outs, and I'm sure you do, construction loans that can help you. Am I correct in saying that it's kind of like a motivator to buy a home that maybe does need a little bit of rehab to it?
It depends.
Okay.
So there are a couple different programs out there. If you buy something that needs work from the get-go, that's going to kind of push you into a rehab program, like a 203K, which is a little different than our construction program. So our construction program is more so if you are building ground up, or if you have if you've owned a property and have like large renovations that you want to do, large additions. The primary benefit to it is we will look at the value after completion. So we're not going to take what is the house worth now. We're going to go, when it's all done, how much is it worth then? And that gives you a little bit more equity up front.
Do you have to complete the project for the construction loan in a certain amount of time?
12 months. So we have a 12-month construction program. It's interest-only payments during that time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes. And then after your 12 months, we have a one-time settle, so it automatically converts to a permanent mortgage. You're not coming back in and incurring costs to convert to that permanent mortgage.
Is this something that is pretty common knowledge, this particular type of loan?
I think if you started to dig into the construction, yes, but a lot of people don't know a lot about the construction product. We only have one, so if you're looking for low down payment, first-time home buyers, these can be tough because they do usually require a down payment plus closing costs plus some reserves on the backside. So.
And how does this differ from a standard loan?
So standard loan, if you're buying, you have multiple options. We can get you into the best product. This, you have one option again. So if you don't have your down payment or your closing costs, it could be a little bit of an issue. But we do have ways around it where if you have equity in your property, if you own your land, we can use those to backfill for that. So you don't necessarily need hard cash.
That's interesting. I didn't know much about that. I mean, when I was looking into recently buying a second home, obviously, I know it varies from first home to second home. With you need to put more down, you don't get the first time home buyer rates and stuff like that. But the construction loan that I looked into was to encourage you to buy a home that maybe is a cheaper home that to keep it from being foreclosed on or dilapidated and bulldozed, essentially, to kind of encourage people to do that. But there were a lot of different ins and outs of it that seemed very overwhelming.
It's a very specific program with very specific guidelines.
Yeah.
It's a government-backed program, so that's what makes it a little bit more tedious than a normal construction loan.
Amy, tell me a little bit about your background.
My background. So I have been in banking for 26 years. I started as a freshman in college.
That's
small local bank.
It's a great job right out of college.
I was a teller, and then went into management, and then transitioned into mortgage. So I've been with Middletown for about 7.5 years.
And what do you like most about working for Middletown Valley Bank?
I think it has a very family feel to it. You know, when I was interviewed, they're like, family first, and if not, that's on you.
And you can feel that with everybody that we've interviewed from MVB. Everybody brings that kind of attitude and energy.
And BJ, our CEO, like he started ground up as well.
I love him. He is such a wonderful human being.
Yeah, so he started ground up. So he was, you know, in the trenches, as we say, started in the branch side. So he has worked his way up to CEO. So I think it makes a difference when you have someone at the top who has been where all of your employees are.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely. They can, they relate to you, and he's wonderful. We've had him on here before, and we really enjoy him. Are there any common misconceptions about loans that maybe you would want to address or tell people that?
I would say for first-time home buyers, the biggest thing I hear is I need 20% down. And that is just not true.
The number's just, it's too big.
Especially in today's market.
Oh my gosh,
houses are so expensive. But yeah, that's the number one misconception I hear is I have to have this down payment, and that's not true.
Is it true for second, third, fourth home?
Meaning if you're buying a second home in addition to your first one, the guidelines are a little different. If you're going to keep your first home and buy a second, but if you're just selling your first and buying your second, no, it's not true.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that our listeners know about either loans or Middletown Valley Bank?
As far as the loans go, I would say don't be hesitant to reach out. Like we just talked earlier, the home buying process, I encourage you, interview your realtor, interview your lender. It's very important you have that comfort level because you have to have the hard conversations and be able to say no if it doesn't work. The pre-approval process is free, so you're not obligated to anything once you come in. So I do encourage anybody that has questions, just schedule an appointment and come in. We can do it over the phone, in person, or we're all completely online as well.
I would definitely want to work with you.
Oh, thank you.
I really like your bubbly, upbeat personality. Like I would definitely, I feel like you would have my back.
I love what I do.
Yeah, I can tell.
They say once you get into the industry, you don't leave. And it's very true. So I love my customers. Being in a branch, once the transactions close, I do still get to see them, which is what I really enjoy about being in a branch versus being maybe at a big brokerage. Like they'll come in and say, hey, like we need accounts now. What do you recommend? And then I can kind of point them in the right direction.
I'm sure it's rewarding as well to see somebody come in. Maybe I'm thinking about my own personal experience. Who's so nervous, they're not sure what to do, they don't know how to navigate the process, and then all of a sudden they're at the closing table.
They are my most rewarding usually, my first-time home buyers, because they're hesitant, they're scared in the beginning, and then we get to the end, and it's just like, we're here.
And you make it so easy for them.
We try.
Here's where you have to sign, here's what everything means, and call me if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
And I would say that's probably what I'm most proud of is like, we get you there, we hold your hand, not in a bad way, but we're gonna make sure you know what's going on.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge investment. It's a lot of money, and it's so overwhelming to understand what all those words mean. I mean, I still don't know what escrow is. I don't think I'll ever know what escrow is.
I mean, even as a lender, when I have done my own transactions, it's still nerve-wracking.
Yes.
Like, what's going to happen? Is something going to go wrong? Is something not going to go as planned? So,
yeah. Well, Amy, this has been such a wonderful conversation, and thank you so much for joining us today on Let's Talk TriState.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's Talk TriState.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TriState, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.